I'm just so welcome to this money sharing call, actually abundance creation call or future creation, like I like to call it, because and hi to all of you who don't know me. Some of you are new here. I'm Shweta, and I'm a certified facilitator with Access Consciousness, and we are using the Access tools in these calls that are starting tomorrow. And today, I just wanted to invite you to this space of, what I've been noticing is that in the last few calls that we've been doing with money, the advanced money workbook, and the you know Manisha, could you take care of the chat in case there's something there? Would you please let me know if you're there? Is Manisha there? I don't know. Okay, cool. It looks like she's logged off or something. Because, like I said, this is a new computer and I just can't seem to figure out what's going on. Okay, cool. So, a lot of times we don't even ask. We don't ask for what is real. We don't ask to us. We don't ask for what is possible. And we keep buying into the lies of lack of this reality, believing that somehow that is true. And as we keep growing up towards adulthood, we keep buying more and more of that lack, more and more of the struggle of hard work, of what is possible and what is not possible. So I'm not saying that it doesn't take hard work or it doesn't take you to work to create money, because that would kind of seem a lot of nonsensical stuff. If you see anybody who is actually created things in their life, they have worked hard, they haven't given up, yet they've asked for way more than what other people ask for or believe is possible and true. Does that make sense to you? So now, if we actually begin to see what are we asking for, if I ask you today, let's begin with a question that I posted on the group. If you are on that group, I created a temporary group where if you actually were there, I posted a couple of questions. And if you actually look at what are you asking for as your financial reality? Why are you here today? What would you like to change about money? What is going on with you that you're believing is real and true? How much money are you making in a year? So let's actually look at the finances, the kind of accounts bit of it. Do you know how much you're making in a year? Do you know how much you would like to be making in a year? Do you know your expenditures? Do you know your income and expenditures, which is in this reality called a profit and loss statement? So you don't have to do the profit and loss statement. You basically need to know how much is coming in and how much is going out. Do you know that? And if not, then that is the first step to actually start to look at what is it that is coming in, how much is coming in. So like, a lot of times when I'm looking at or going into lack of how much I've created, how much I haven't created, how much I would like to be having, or particularly when I'm looking at, oh, I'd like to be doing this, because the moment your choices keep expanding, the moment you've chosen something nice for yourself, you want more of it. Is that right? You want more of that travel, you want more of those great clothes, you want more of the luxury lifestyle, you want a greater car, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's awesome. But you actually know how much it's going to cost you if you were having that lifestyle. Do you know how much you would have to be creating in order to have that? And again, in these calls, we are not going to be talking about exactly profit and loss statements. What I'm talking about, why I'm bringing this to your notice, is if I ask you today, if you could create anything as your financial reality, what would that be? Again, I'm going to ask you again, if you could create anything as your financial reality, like X amount of money, and please don't go into a random number, like don't say, oh, 100,000 lakhs, you don't even know how many zeros are there. Truly, honestly, ask yourself, have I ever asked myself how much money I would like to be making? And I'll give you a moment to look at that. And if you guys are ready, whenever you're ready, you can let me know. Do you know how much money you would like to be making? Yeah,
4 lakhs per month.
2 lakhs a month, 5 lakhs. Anyone else?
More than 30 lakhs a month.
Can't hear you, Priyanka.
30 lakhs, more than 30 lakhs a month.
More than 30 lakhs a month. Okay. Okay. Who else?
More,
Over a
more
crore a
than
month.
more than 7 lakh.
More than 7 lakhs a month or a year?
Month.
Okay, how much is that in a year? Can you tell me how much is that in a year? Quickly, off the top of your head. No, you're not calculating. Do you know that? Okay. So when I'm saying like everybody can come up with a figure, now I'm going to ask you 2 more questions. Yeah, 200 crores a year, or how many zeros in a crore? Radhika, tell me. How many zeros are there in a crore?
9.
9.
Awesome. Okay, not even close to that. Whatever that is. Cool. So you tell me now, and again, do you know how much money you're spending in a month? Do you know what your expenditures are in a month? Do you know how much you like to, let's say, plan for, keep for travel, for clothes, for, maybe, I'm not saying, notice, I'm not saying a rainy day. I didn't say a rainy day, but how many went, oh, for a rainy day, because I took it out of someone's head. Yes, Roseanne.
Yes, I used to make 2K a month,
Mm-hmm.
2K dollars,
Mm-hmm.
and my was like $200 every month.
I'm sorry, what did you say? Kind of cut off. You were making $2,000 a month.
A month, and my expenses were around $1,000 or something like that.
Wow. So,
But would like to make more than that, so I can afford a car right now.
Mhm.
So I cannot afford. So basically, so now I'm planning to make at least 5K a month,
Mhm.
so I can expand my expenditures, like buy a car and you know.
Awesome. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. Now, if that is what you're asking for, okay, so now everyone has 1 crore per annum after taxes. Okay, cool. So and I'm not making any figure right or wrong, good or bad. It is what it is. It is what you're asking for. Cool. Now tell me, one, I asked you, do you know your expenditures? Do you know how much you're spending? Right? And there is this thing that we do in Access, which is called a 10% account, which is actually a great way. So for all of you who are new to Access, who haven't done this before, it's a great way to actually start to, and we'll talk more about and clear more about all the points of view that you have about 10% in the call starting tomorrow. But if you actually are not doing it, what you do is all the money that's coming in, you put aside a 10% for yourself as honoring you amount. Because what happens is when you begin to actually honor yourself for what you're creating, and you actually start to look at how much you're actually creating, because maybe some of you are looking at, okay, this is my salary, so it's clear that I'm creating this much. That figure is absolutely clear to you. But how many gifts are you receiving that you're not acknowledging? How many things do you have in your life that you didn't have to pay for that you're not acknowledging? How many things are just coming into you that you're not even looking at as money? And when we refuse to actually see what all we are creating, then do you create more of it or less of it? Do you have to go into judgment of what you're not creating if you don't pay attention to how much you're actually creating? So everywhere, let's begin the clearings. Everywhere that you are not acknowledging what you're creating, that does not allow you to ask for more, because the ask is where we stop short. Will you destroy and uncreate all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, line, shorts, boys and beyond. So can I take your example, Roseanne? Like he was saying, I create an X amount and this was my expenditure. So probably 50% was my expenditure and 50%, I have no idea what you were doing with it. But you have that. Or maybe you spent it. No idea. Okay. And how long you've been doing it, we don't know that yet. But whatever it is, now you went to, okay, I'd like to have 4K. Even if it's dollars, that's okay. But why didn't you ask for, and I know I did say that look at an amount that right now seems conceivable to you. Don't randomly throw figures in the air, but you actually look at, there's a beautiful story in Access about how we use the tool. How does it get any better than this? And there was this, so I'm just going to quickly take a little detour so that you guys get this tool better. So Gary Douglas, founder of Access Consciousness, shared this story in one of the workbooks, and some of you have heard it, is like how he shared this tool of the question, how does it get any better than this, to the participants of one of his money calls. And this lady, she took the tool and she walked out of class and she started asking, how does it get any better than this? How does it get any better than this? And the law of the universe is, if you ask a question, the universe responds. But if you go to judgment and conclusion, you stop your creation, you stop your receiving, because the universe can only give you as much as you're willing to receive. we just create these, how fortresses have these barricades and what do you call it, the fortress thing, the boundary walls, let's say. So the moment you've come to a conclusion, you've created a boundary. What you're receiving is saying, I don't want to go beyond that. This is all I can receive. So this lady walks out of the class and she goes, how does it get any better than this? And how does it get any better than this? She finds some cents lying on the road and she picks them up. She says, wow, this is so cool. I got money. And how does it get any better than this, right? And she goes further down and she finds a $10 bill. And she's like, oh my God, this tool really works. How does it get any better than this? How does it get any better than this? And she picks up the $10 bill and she says, cool, now I have $10. So let me take a cab today, because usually she didn't have money, so she would take bus. So she picks up the $10, she takes the bus, she takes the cab, and now the cab, she keeps asking, how does it get any better than this? How does it get any better than this? And she finds this great cab driver, great to talk to, amazing journey. And she is so happy with everything. And she gets out of the car and she's coming through another route, which she wouldn't have come through if she had taken the bus. Okay. And as she's walking towards her door, she sees something glittering near the grate on the pavement. And she says, what's that? And she goes closer and guess what she finds? She finds a diamond bracelet. And guess what she says? What did she say? Who can tell me? You guys know
How
it.
does it get any better than this?
Better than this.
What did she say?
She concluded her, right?
Yeah, she went,
Nothing can be better than this.
it doesn't get any better than this. How many of you have heard? And I've heard so many, when I'm watching Netflix and all. And we went to somebody's house when we were visiting the States, and we went to somebody's house. There was actually a poster that says it doesn't get any better than this. And I was like, and my children are looking at me, Mama, because when you conclude it doesn't get any better than this, it can't get any better than this, because the universe is like a genie. It responds to your ask. Now, why I got to the story, I wanted you guys who hadn't heard the story, is this is a way we limit our asks, because our mind cannot comprehend that we can receive more than this, because इससे ज़्यादा तो कभी मिला नहीं है ना. So when we reach a point when we've received way more than anything that we previously did, our mind just tells us, mind is the thing that stops you. It'll tell you, hey, cool, you should be happy now. Don't ask for more. This is great. Now you can be stuck in this bigger box. So earlier you were asking for like $2,000. Now you're asking for $4,000. But
Yes.
the trick is to ask for $4,000 and more. So you don't have to conclude what figure is that. But when you say, okay, what would it take for me to have $4,000 a month?
Extra deals.
And more with totalies. Which one is lighter?
Sorry.
4K. I would like to have 4K. Okay. And I would like to have 4K and more with totalies. Which one?
4K and more.
Right. But we forget to add the more, because you found your diamond bracelet. So supposing you do hit that 4K mark and you get your BMW or your Mercedes or whichever Audi or whatever you're planning to get.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get, wow, my life is so cool. I got what I wanted. And you stop asking for more. You know why? Because see, if you start asking for 4K more today, let's say you're making 2K and you're asking double of what you're making, whatever it is you're making, guys, today, if you're asking for double of that. Right. Sometimes it takes time for the universe to bring to you in actualization what you're asking for.
Okay.
So if you've seen the Shah Rukh Khan movie, that I'm sure you've seen that, Om Shanti Om, right? He says, although Paolo Coelho said it, but I'm just going to, because a lot of people have seen the Shah Rukh Khan movies, like when you ask for something, the whole universe kind of gets together. Sari kainat jut jati hai usko aapke taraf laane mein, aap tak laane mein, right? लेकिन आप मांग क्या रहे हो? और वो मांग पूरी होने में, for that actualization to come to you, might take a couple of years, might take 6 months, might take 5 years. So if you don't start asking today, can you have that future 5 years down the line?
Mm-hmm.
So what are you asking for today? Go ahead. What do you want to ask? You want to say something?
Obviously, a 4K and more.
Yeah, now we're talking. So that is where we begin. So this is what is the, the poverty mindset that we have grown. A lot of us have come from, like, I've come from a middle class household, I know. And my dad had this small scale industry that he set up himself. And I know even a 10 rupee packet of chips at that point of time, you know, me and my brother would have a packet of 10 rupee chips every Sunday, and that used to be wastage. According to, I'm not judging them. That point of time we didn't have the money, right? So it was more important for them to save for our education or for marriages or whatever. They had their own points of views, and coming from that kind of a mindset, you know, how many of you have come from that kind of a mindset where people have grown from, where your parents or your grandparents have grown from scratch to, you know, wherever you are today, whether it's riches, whether it's you're billionaires, or whether you're looking to be billionaires. But when you come from that kind of a mindset, you kind of automatically go to this point of view of, oh, it has to be struggle. Oh, I have to understand it. Oh, I don't get it. Right? So you got to start to see that, are you coming from the point of view of I can't have? Because your point of view is going to create your reality. Just like this woman said, it can't get any better than this. And so the universe has to now give her that only. It can't get any better for her. So the thing to do is to start to look at, what is your point of view around money? What are you asking for? Are you actually asking for enough? Or are you asking for only that which your mind, which your background, which your past, which your family, or which your roots tell you that this is the only thing that is possible for you? And if you go beyond that, oh my God, something terrible is going to happen. Because money is evil, money is bad, and people who have a lot of money, it's, ew, shouldn't go there. How many of you were told that money is evil, money is bad, and you can't, and you won't be able to? You don't get it. And even if you were not told that directly, how many of you are aware that those are the points of views that people function from? All right. So if that is actually, that is the thing that kind of stops us from receiving money. So everywhere that you're buying into the poverty consciousness mindset, which could be, I can't, I won't, I don't get it, I'll never have it, will you destroy and uncreate all times of God's again? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, online, shorts, boys, and beyond. So the poverty mindset is when you also start looking at things from that particular point of view, and then you're not willing to change it. So a lot of access is about looking at your point of view in these particular regards, is like, what is your point of view around money? And if you begin to change your point of view around money, first is to get what my point of view around money is, because right now you might be thinking, I don't have any of these points of views. So what is she talking about? Because a lot of times you're not even willing to see that I have a point of view like that. Like, you might be saying, oh, when I found the diamond bracelet, I would have said, how does it get any better than this? But I can tell you honestly that when I heard this story, I was like, I would never say that, you know. But then later, I caught myself thinking, when I received something that was beyond my imagination, I don't really remember what that was. I actually caught myself thinking, oh, acha, bas ho gaya, yaar, ye to kamal ho gaya, bas, okay, ho gaya, you know. And you don't even realize that you're saying that yourself. You don't even realize that you're stopping your asks. Or if someone judges you for asking something, okay, cool, now let's go to the judgment bit. Now, how many of you were judged for asking for too much money? How many of you were judged because you're never happy with what you get? How many of you were judged because you just got something new and now you want another brand new thing? Evil, vicious, greedy. How many of you were judged as greedy? And because then you didn't want to be judged as greedy, because you didn't want to be judged as, ऐसे कैसे होता है? Are you dumb or what? Are you stupid or what? How can you actually even ask for that? How are you going to get it? How many of you were judged as stupid for asking for that much? And it's not only money, it's the life we're talking about, because money is the byproduct of the life you're willing to choose. So what is the life that you're asking for? And what is the life that you're not asking for? Would you like to play with those two questions? Anyone have any questions here?
Well, I really need to ask something here. I
Okay.
know what my life would like, what I would like my life to be, but I'm not aware what I would like to be.
There's a lot of background noise. Manisha, is it your end or?
Yes, I am in a cafe. Must be mine.
Oh, okay. Talk a little louder then.
So yeah, I was telling you, I know what I require, what I desire. However, I am not able to see what I'm not able to. And this is a question you'd asked me number of times. However, every time that's something, until and unless I experience it, I do not know what is that.
What are you
How to get
unable
out of
to ask for? Is that's the question that you're saying you never get? Cool. So how many of you have actually allowed yourself to even explore what is possible for you? Because when you live in a reality that is of poverty mindset that tells you you can't, you won't be able to, and it's not, so many times it's not like people are telling you directly on your face. But if you live amongst people, because here's the thing, guys, for those of you who haven't heard this before, is like your thoughts, feelings, emotions, you kind of biomimetically, there's this thing called mimicking people's patterns. And if you're close to people, like if you've grown up with people who have this mindset of trying to save, and there's nothing, I'm not saying it's wrong or right. I'm saying some people have a mindset of trying to save. Have you seen those people who try to save money,
Yes,
who don't want to spend on even the littlest of things?
I
And
do.
they, you'd have you, do you have people like that in your family or your neighbors or your, wherever, and you see
Yeah,
their life? So how is their life? Is their life thriving, or is it just
normal
enough,
living.
just enough to survive?
No, enough to survive, like a boring normal life. Nothing,
Yeah,
nothing,
boring
nothing.
normal life and just enough to survive. So their point of view is that, okay, cool, it could be that I need this much money to survive, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're creating only as much money they require to survive. But if
Yeah.
you don't fit into that criteria, if you're the one who's asking for more, plus they are family and you love them, and you, of course, you love them, so their points of view have to be righter than yours. They have to be more valuable than you because obviously they're adults. And there was one movie, I don't know, somebody said, oh no, my daughter. So, we were talking and I was like, how we are told, बड़े हैं उनकी बात सुन लो, बड़े हैं. How many of you were told, बड़े हैं उनकी बात सुन लो? Have you heard
Yes,
that?
I do. A lot of
She's
time.
like,
Lot.
she's like,
Busy.
so?
Busy.
Even if it is a stupid point of view, you expect me to believe it? You expect me to follow it? She's like, so? Like, how is bade hain justification for, it's not justification for उनकी बात ज़्यादा सही है या वो ज़्यादा sensible हैं या आप अपनी life कैसे जी रहे हो? You teach people by inspiration. So if I'm looking at you and I'm looking at the life that you're living and that doesn't resonate with me, and then you tell me, listen to you because you're older to me, excuse me, what? But that is still the tendency. We on automatic pilot start to mimic other people, start to take on their points of views. And if they believe कि कमी है दुनिया में, पैसा खत्म हो जाएगा, without realizing, we'll immediately pick that up and we'll not question, is this my point of view? And we start worrying about money and we start getting tense about money, we start getting anxious about money. And that is one of the reasons why what Manisha is saying, that when you ask, what am I unwilling to ask for? वो चीज आपके सामने आएगी नहीं, because you're so entrenched in other people's points of views of lack. So I know Manisha for quite some time now, and I know she's a creator of magnitude. Like, she has to ask for it and the money shows up, but she loves to go into the wrongness of, I can't, and I don't know how it's going to show up, and I don't know, I don't know. So how many of you live from the point of view of, I don't know? Somebody else does, but I don't know. How many of you live from the point of view of looking at others and saying, उसको पैसे बनाना आता है, मुझे नहीं आता, मेरे से तो अकाउंट्स भी नहीं होते, पता नहीं कैसे होगा, पता नहीं कैसे होगा, पता नहीं क्या. How many of you are focused on looking at the wrongness of you rather than, okay, we'll stop here. For now, how many of you are focused on the wrongness of you, that you can't, you won't be able to, you definitely don't know how? Like she went, when I ask this question, what am I unwilling to ask for? I don't get anything. You don't get anything because that thing you've never asked for. So it's new to you, but if it's new to you energetically, if you get the awareness of what it is, you will reject it, you will refuse it, you will not ask, okay, what is this? What
And then
awareness
that
am I
situation
receiving?
shows up. That situation shows up.
What situation shows up?
Like, I remember we had the same conversation a month ago in our class with you, where you asked me to write down what I require and all that. I was like, I don't know what I'm unwilling to receive. I can receive everything, and all that bunk that you are aware of, I'm not able to take the classes and all. So right now, when you were talking, I just took off my list. What would I like my life to look like? It's all not happening, and it was all in my plate because I was willing to see what I am unwilling to see.
I
So
didn't
how to
get
get
that.
out?
I didn't get that. What do you say?
Am I audible for
Yeah,
the
I
first
heard
time?
the part where you said I checked my list and
Yeah, I checked my list. These are all the things which are available to an
are
extent.
available.
How?
Okay.
Yeah. somehow I am not willing to go that area because I'm really willing to see what I am unwilling to see.
Okay,
All
so
the judgments, funds, more of expenditures, all
yeah,
that comes.
yeah.
So how to get out of it?
So you outcreate it. You outcreate it. That's what we're going to do. That's what you're going to talk about in these calls. And yeah, it's basically about recognizing the point of view that you're functioning from. If you put it in simple language, it is just changing your point of view. If you're able to change your point of view and you can actually start asking from the space of allowance, even when you're not willing to ask for it, and you go, okay, cool, right now maybe I'm in a judgment of myself. I think I'm not so cool. I think I can't. But now what would see, you already asked that question, what would it take for me to get out of this? Now that in itself is a question, but you didn't recognize it, did you? That's where we begin. That is where we begin, and that is where we start to identify in a lot of areas. Sometimes we're able to create more in our relationships with property, with stocks, with other things, yet certain areas in our life remain in lack, where we go, pata nahi kaise hoga. Some particular areas, it's a wonky thing, but it's your mind that's telling you that you can't, or you won't, or you don't get it, or you're unwilling to. If you were unwilling to ask for it, would you have been on this call? Would you have been choosing all the other money workbooks that you're choosing? Would you be using the tools? So you see, the tendency is to go into the wrongness of ourselves. So that's what I was asking you guys, how many of you go into the wrongness of you rather than looking at the strongness of you? Because even when you're going through a funk, even when you're going through something that seems like a limitation, if you can actually tell yourself, hey, you know what, I can do this. I don't know how to yet, but I'll figure out a way. I'll find
Um,
out.
Shweta, I want to share something here.
Please go ahead.
4 years back, what happened was I had problem stammering. I was not able to speak properly, but I also wanted to become an entrepreneur.
Wow.
So people, you cannot do it because you cannot able to speak properly. How could you do it? Because
Yeah.
entrepreneur is a good speaker,
Yeah.
and you are not clear. So on that time, I realized, okay, I make sense. I'm not able to. So I limit myself and start doing some other odd jobs. But
Yeah.
then I realized, no, I cannot settle for this. If
Brilliant.
there's a problem, if there's a problem, I have to fix it.
Awesome. Awesome.
After working, I have drawbacks. Yes, I have some like disabilities through which I cannot be able to perform as I wanted to perform. But I think I embrace that and I start working on it. And I think I'm way better than before.
Amazing. And now
So,
what else is possible? Are you asking that?
sorry.
And the next question is, now what else is possible? If you could create that for yourself, what else can
Yeah.
you create? What else is possible? Because you guys are infinite beings. Do you know what an infinite being is?
Yeah. For me, if I can overcome this, then I can do anything in life. Anything.
Anything. So what would you thank you for that? That is amazing. So how many of you have the point of view that I can do anything? How many of you have the point of view that I can't do some things? And how many of you have the point of view that I can't do anything? All of that, will you destroy and uncreate all? And everywhere you're juggling from or jumping from, I will, I won't, I can, I can't, oh yes I can, but I don't get it, all of that, will you destroy and uncreate all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, paka, nine shots, boys and men. So look back at a time, like Roseanne was sharing it, at a time when you ask for something. Oh my god, can you hear that background noise?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Let's go. Let's
Can't help
for that.
it. Okay, let's just bell
It's not that
jar
much.
the car. My god, we just bell jarred it. It shut off. That's the kind of capacity we have. And no, I was not doing any voodooism or anything like that. But these are the tools that actually, when you ask, you have to get that when you ask for something, it shows up, it receives. So that's what we're going to be doing, guys, by the way, starting tomorrow. So I shifted it to tomorrow. It was supposed to start today. Some of you are already on it. But the 5 calls that we're going to be starting tomorrow are going to have more clearings, more conversations, and energy pulls as well. There, start it again. You want to do the bell jar again?
Can you do me a favor before we wind up? So there are certain threads which were going on. What is the difference between money workbook and these calls? Though I have given my best, still I would like to do it.
Okay, money workbook is a slightly more intense workbook because it seems like it's a very normal workbook. Please be assured it's not. It's Oh, it's extraordinary. Okay. And there are so many nuances to the money workbook that when we go into each of the calls, like sometimes one chapter, like when we've just on the fifth call, and we've just done 3 chapters, and we're on the fourth today on the currently going on money workbook. So it's a little more intense deep dive um, when we do the money workbook, and we read from the money workbook. We do the questions from the money workbook. So some questions probably in the first couple of calls I might be taking from the money workbook, because those are the basic questions. Other than that, this is not the money workbook. We will be talking more about, I don't know what, depends on your questions. Okay. But we will definitely be clearing a lot of stuff around money, because what I've, like I just shared with you guys, in spite of doing so many calls facilitating the money workbook and the advanced money workbook series, there are places where I find myself still going into lack sometimes. Honest confession, I'm not perfect, and I'm not aspiring to be perfect. I'm not trying to teach you anything. All that I'm going to do is give you some tools, questions that will allow you to see where you're functioning from a lack mentality, and from there to shift to more of an abundance mindset. And frankly, I haven't really chalked out what we're going to be doing in the 5 calls. We will just follow the energy of what the people on the call series are asking for. We will have a dedicated set of clearings as well, more than we're doing today, because today is the intro call. Today I just wanted to give you a feel of what we're doing. Plus, there is another thing that showed up for me yesterday that I added today to this series, is energy pulls. Because a lot of people, somebody texted me asking me how, when you want to get money back from someone, how do you do? Do you pull energy? Do you push energy? So there's a lot of confusion around energy pools, around the 10%, around honoring of money with money, creating more, creating fortune. And if you actually, and uneducating yourself on wealth, like it's not like you don't know, so you're never going to get it. But the tendency is to believe that if I don't know, I'm never going to get it. What would it take for that to change? What else are you not looking at that you could add to your money flows? So we'll be doing a lot of that. And like I said, there is no form structure to these calls. We will just follow the energy. And I will do my best to give you tools to actually begin this journey of asking for more rather than asking for the least. And with energy pulse, there is this energy of ask and receive. And like I said, I was recently facilitating, when I facilitated the foundation class, um, there was this question from the participant that, I'm asking for all of this, but it's not showing up. I'm asking, but it's not showing up. So how many of you have been asking for so long, but it's not showing up? So there are these little nuances that you're going to go deeper into the call series, where why is it not showing up? What can you change? What can you tweak? How can you pull? And are you actually asking for enough? So what would it be like if we start tomorrow with your ask list, and that we're going to start on the WhatsApp group and then continue with tomorrow. And I'm not making any false promises of what you're going to do or what we can't do, what we're going to do, not going to do. Honestly, it's just a no form, no structure, no significant series. And if you have been on any of my calls, I will do my best to give you as much as I can. That's all I can promise. It is up to you what you would like to receive. You ask more questions, you get more. Does that help? So yeah, the ask and receive energy pose is now a part of this series. And it's not as difficult as you guys think it is. It doesn't take very long, but there are certain nuances to it that if you actually started playing with them on a daily basis, what would that change for you is something that I'm inviting you to. And really, today is the last day that I'm offering it at this price. If you are willing to sign up for it, please do so today. Tomorrow the price is going up, because you're really going to get way more. Like 5 call series, just for the price that I've announced it at, is really peanuts. If you're really looking at creating a different future with money, and if this resonates with you, if you like what I'm saying and you think it's going to contribute to you, you're welcome. You're invited. Let's do this together.
Can I add something here?
Please, Priyanka, go for it.
I would like to acknowledge and let you know that as soon as I deposited money for this call series today, I received 50,000 in my bank account immediately.
Yay!
How does my client?
How does it
get even better than this? What else?
How does it? How does it? It is true.
I just wanted to acknowledge that my choice created.
Absolutely. Your choice creates, guys. Your choice is what will create your future. It's not that she signed up and because she paid me the money for this class series. It got created because with that you're also demanding when you make a commitment to something, you are demanding that your reality changes. So how many of you are not demanding enough of yourself? You think a demand is of the universe? Because there's a lot of confusion around the demand and request also. How many of you have a confusion around demand and request? Because a lot of people tell me, I keep demanding, it's not showing up. Well, who are you demanding of? I'm demanding of the universe. Hello, you demand of yourself, the request of the universe. So, how many of you are refusing to make that demand of yourself? That if you were willing to commit to creating, that demand would create $100 million for you right away and more with total ease. And you can put this clearing on a loop if you like. Everything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and unclear all? Right on the glad what
Immediately.
9 shows boys and beyond. Like put it on for an hour, for 2 hours, or for the night. What demand of yourself are you refusing to make? That if you were willing to make it and committed to creating your life, would actually manifest as money. That demand and like Priyanka said, the choice to change your reality, the willingness, hey, you know what? I'm not buying this like it's true. And not from a space of resistance, not from a space of, अच्छा तुम ऐसे कह रहे हो इसीलिए मेरे लिए तो सच नहीं. And that is where allowance comes in, where you're not aligning and agreeing to something, someone saying, like someone comes up to you and says, you know what, there's an economic depression going on and there's so much shortage. Like yesterday I was talking to somebody, one of my friends, and we're talking about some people we know who have gone into tremendous lack because the incomes are not coming, because so much is not sure. And here I am cribbing about, I'm just making only this amount and it should have been more because I was doing better 2 months earlier or last year. And I looked at that and I went, I haven't really looked at other people's reality where it's difficult for people to create money. And my point of view is, why don't they do something else? Why don't they do something else? Like somebody comes and tells me their business is not working and they're not doing something. And I'm like, why don't they do something else? And they're like, do what else? I was like, I don't know, but why don't they do something else? What else? Like they're educated, they have some money, they know they have a family, they know they have to create. Why don't they do something else? And the answer is always they can't. Or what else? So which category do you want to be? And that is when I was having this conversation, I actually acknowledged that, hey, you know what? In spite of everything that's been going on, I have been able to create. And that is a gift. And I'm going to acknowledge myself for it, not from the point of view of superior, but from the point of view of, my reality is never going to be that of lack. But when somebody comes at you and says, you don't know, there's so much of lack in the world, you either go into, हाँ ये ठीक कह रहा है, which is alignment and agreement, and say, हाँ मेरे साथ भी ऐसे हो रहा है. Or you go into, तुम्हारे लिए होगा, मेरे लिए नहीं है. That's resistance, right? Either ways, you are aligning and agreeing and making that reality true, because if you did not believe it true, you wouldn't have reacted to it. That's another place where you can begin to now function from a space of allowance, and we'll be doing more clearings on that yesterday. Everything should have happened yesterday for me, right? I mean, starting tomorrow, whenever it shows up. So these are the kind of spaces that you're going to go into, starting to look at what is true for you, what you're stuck with, kind of do more clearings on it, post more clearings on the closed group, whatever shows up, in my world. And yeah, my USP, I love to recommend Netflix movies if that is fun for you, because there are so many Netflix and Hotstar movies these days that kind of resonate with the tools that we talk about, and people get it easier. I love to watch these movies and they kind of give you the tools best. So that is another thing that we're going to do if the recommendations show up.
Shweta,
Yes,
there is
Priyanka.
something that I wanted to ask something. See, I am aware of so many possibilities, and I'm aware of my potential. So what happens? Like I am aware of so many asks that in like the demand thing that you have asked, that you have just told about. I think I'm making so much of demand from myself that I am going into judgment of myself.
Like in the morning that you have posted the question there, what change you are refusing, you are not willing to acknowledge or whatever, what's that? So like my thing is that I am exhausting myself now right now
Yeah.
because of the demand and the pressure that I am making upon myself because of the demand, and I'm aware of all those possibilities in us, and I know that I can create, and I'm at the verge of creating all of that. But then I am still in the judgment of myself, and I'm resisting to take that. Means I'm aware of everything, but I am not willing to take those actions because of the unknown paths and unknown future, or unknown fear of that success that I am seeing. Like, so can you just help me out in taking out of me
So
from
what can
that
I
overwhelm?
you said so many things.
Yeah,
But you're
I
right,
have
you're
so many
scared.
things.
You are
Uh,
scared. You're
yeah,
really scared. You know of what?
yeah,
Do you know what you're scared of? You're scared of the power and success you're going to get if you go ahead and create that.
yes,
You're
yes.
afraid
Actually,
of
I'm
who you're
aware of
going to
that.
lose. You're afraid of if you're successful. So this is another thing that I wanted to ask you guys when I asked you in the beginning of the call, how much money would you rather be making? How much money are you asking for? And look at that figure again, whatever you guys had asked for. So look at if you were actually making that amount and more, would you still have the same lifestyle, same people in your life, the same life that you're currently living? No, but you
No.
don't want change, do you? You don't want to lose the people. You don't want to lose this lifestyle. You don't want to lose blah. You don't even know what that is, but you don't want to lose it because, oh my God, change is bad. And so you
I
will
don't
not
want to
let
make
go.
people uncomfortable.
Sorry?
Yes, 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 yes. Even I am not willing to make people uncomfortable of my power, of my potentials, of my
Yes.
like expertise. I don't know
Yes.
what, but I do not want others to feel uncomfortable and feel fearful of my own potentials. So there are so many things that I am
Stop
juggling with
one second,
right
one second.
now, and I'm not sure where am
One
I.
second. You just said something. You said, I'm not blah, whatever you said, which is a story, by the way, a justification of why you're going to not choose greater. But that's working for you, right? You're happy with that.
That's not working actually.
It's not
That's why
working.
I'm
Then
willing
what's the
to accept
value of
that.
not willing to change it is a question. So let's go deeper into it tomorrow because we're towards the end of this call. So let's go deeper into it and begin the tomorrow's call on this. But you got to start to look at when you're not willing to lose the people, make other people uncomfortable with your choices. Oh, I'm worried about upset. Somebody's going to get upset if I choose this. And let's say that choice is taking you towards your greater future. You're not going to choose it because your husband, your wife, your child, your parent, or somebody's going to, or your best friend, or your boyfriend or girlfriend is going to get upset about it. And I'm not saying do it as a rebel. I'm not saying let them be upset. No, we can work our way around it. And like I said, these are the little nuances that we're going to talk about. So remind me to begin tomorrow's call with this, Priyanka, because you're already there. So let's begin with that, where you're unwilling to lose people to whenever you're unwilling to lose people, is that allowing you to create a greater future, that of money, wealth, and riches, or not? So what if you were willing to be uncomfortable? What if you were willing to be upset and were still in allowance of their choices? Cool, you know what? You're not okay with it. Can I do it another time? Can I do this different? Including other people in your choices, the people that truly care for you, the people who have your back, the people you would still like to have in your life, and yet be willing to lose those that are not willing to come along. Because see, if you're not willing to lose them, then you're going to be sucked into their reality because you'll just be, you know how you call davadol, dwindling between karu nahi karu, karu nahi karu, karu nahi karu. How many of you keep jumping from karu nahi karu, karu nahi karu, karu nahi karu, and just keeps you like a, you know, oh my God, I'm getting dizzy. Everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate all?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, poker, nine shows, boys and me. So all the everything that you're unwilling to lose is what is going to stop you. Yet, if you're willing to lose it, you don't have to. So that, and there's another element of what you were talking about. A lot of creations have their own time to show up. So even if you're aware that this can be my future, you have to be willing to ask questions around, is now the time to show up, for this to show up? When is the time? Are you asking that question?
No.
So please ask that. And I'm going to stop here now because these are the places. So thank you for asking that question, Priyanka, because these are the different spaces that we're going to go into. And like I said, I'm going to go deeper into the clearings. Now, once we know that this is what we're clearing, then we can address them with specific clearings that you guys can then run on a loop. And yes, the recordings will be available on a recording folder on the WhatsApp group or on your emails. I have no idea how right now, but I'll let you know once you join the series. And you can, from that thing, download the calls and replay them, take out the clearings. And I will also be sharing the relevant clearings with you on a PDF sheet so that you can use those to run on a loop nonstop for like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Sometimes you need to run some clearings for like months together because we have developed these patterns over a long period of time, sometimes previous lifetimes. So we will be clearing that as well. Right? So let's see where else we can go with these calls. And all of you who are waiting to join in, jump on now. Tomorrow, I might not be able to give you the same price. I'm just repeating myself. So thank you for being here. And I hope today's call contributed to you. The recording of this will be put on that WhatsApp group where you guys joined in to know more about this call. And that's just a temporary group we created so that we can share the recordings with you guys. And I hope to see a lot more of you on these call series. I wonder what we can create. So thank you. Gitu, yes, like Manisha said, I will share that demand question is what you're asking for, I think. We will share it on the group. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ciao. Bye-bye.
Bye.